Hello everyone, Okana here, and it's time for a live session. We will be waiting just a few minutes for everyone to join as usual, so please hold on just a few minutes. Type in the chat when you're in so I know you're here. If you're watching this offline after the recording, then you can just leave a comment or come to the CommuniTraders forum if you have any questions. So let's wait a couple minutes. Hey guys, we'll be waiting just a few minutes, as I mentioned before, and then we will start. I'm not going to take much of your time, just a short. Just a short session this time. Hey, good to see you guys. Let's wait a couple more minutes. I'm not going to do a long session because I'm just going to explain a trade from last week that I took after the news. There was quite a volatile news last week, and I'm going to explain. It wasn't based on the news itself. I will explain shortly. We'll wait one more minute and then we'll start. If you have any questions during the session, just type me in the chat, I can see. Everything okay? You can see my charts? Okay guys, let's start. This is Okana, and I'm going to show you a trade I took a week ago. I'm going to explain the details. I think it's good price action, because a lot of people ask how I draw my lines. So You can change the quality. If you don't like what you see, you can change it. Go to 720 HD so you can see my chart clearly. And the asset is Euro USD. I always trade Euro USD. And this is the daily charts right now that we are watching. I just changed, you will see in a moment. And we're gonna go through what happened. So last Friday, before we move on, let me show you, there was news. So let me show you what kind of news there was. I hope you see this Forex Factory chart or page. So as you can see, there was some high impact news here, the red flags here. So on the US dollar, about hourly earnings, employment, unemployment rate, trade balance. So as you can see, it was bad for the US dollar, which means that, does everyone see this, by the way? Can you see? Can everyone see the Forex Factory? You can just type in the chat window here to the right on YouTube. Okay, so on this chart, as I said, you could see that it was bad news for the US dollar, and what happened was that on this candle, on this day, the euro rallied up, okay, because of the fundamentals. And what happened when I came home that day, I'm going to show you. Let's find the candle. It was on this candle here. Let's go to the 5 minutes chart actually. Okay, so when I got home, the price was around here, was around this candle. So I was like, maybe I should jump in, because there have been bullish, the market has been bullish for a while now, a large volume, so maybe it should retrace. But then I had to make sure I knew where exactly it was going to get some reach some resistance, right? Before, you don't just want to jump in just because there was a big volume. Back in the old days when I was new, I remember I lost money doing so, because after news I would wait just a few minutes, and then if it was a huge jump, then I would just jump in and reverse trade, hoping for a retracement. And that's not a good strategy. You have to understand where price is trying to go. And one more thing I want to show you before we move on, pay attention, look at this candle and the rest. Because the volume is so huge, the other candlesticks to the left, they look so small. It looks like there is almost no volatility. But look what happens when you scroll to the left. Suddenly everything becomes much bigger, because the MetaTrader draws the candlesticks in relation to each other. So when you have something as huge as this, the rest look so small. Why am I telling you this? You might ask, so what? The answer is that when you backtest your strategies, you have to keep those things in mind. Okay, so keep volatility and volume in mind. So don't just look at the candlesticks, scroll back and look at the price as well. So if you would be looking like this, you would see that, oh, there has been no volatility for like all day. But there has been volatility, and a huge volatility. So just because the candles are drawn in relation to each other, when you have such a big move after news, the rest of the chart looks so small. So bear that in mind. And so what happened was that I was thinking, where should I enter? Should I enter now? Because the market's slowing down. You see these candles? See, first there was a huge jump, a little indecision, and then boom,
again, huge jump, and then now you can see that, okay, it's finally slowing down. But I wasn't sure where to trade, so I had to look at price action. So I went to the daily chart. Because the volume is so huge, the bulls are so strong, I want a strong resistance line. So I went to the daily charts, and I thought, okay, I'm going to locate the best possible entry. So I placed a line. Let me make it another color so you can see. If something isn't clear, just stop me, tell me in the chat so I know. Okay, so I put a line here, and then the first thing I saw was the candles on the left, so approximately here. I saw these two candles, so let's start with putting arrows here. I just put one arrow, but I mean these 3 candles, okay? And then let's work our ways back in time, because we want price action. We want to see as much price action as possible, as many candlesticks as possible, and as much volume as possible. So your first question might be, why don't I place it at the candle wicks? Because recent price closed here, so I thought the most recent amount of sellers must be in this area. And then when you go back, you get another confirmation, another candle close. And then you go back, you see that, okay, here it was the candle wicks, but it's still okay. So that's valid. So you see it's a mix of candle wicks and candle bodies, okay? Candle body close in this time, and and even openings, and candle wicks. So remember that candle wicks means price was pushed down in this case, because we're looking for a put. So now let's move on back, and here we can see we have support in this area, and we have resistance in this area. Look at this huge candle wick here, and this big drop here. We have some support here as well, but then let's move on, and here you go, some more. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles, 5 candles in this area, even 6 candles. Let's put 2 candles arrows here, and you have some support here, and here in this area it's a huge area with both support and resistance. So now our line seems good, right? So far you're with me, right? Any questions? You understand that we went back a lot of history, and this is the daily chart, so this is really strong. Okay, so I knew that price would probably try to push up here, and then that there would be probably at the impact there would be probably sellers that would enter. I thought that maybe price will continue up, higher up, or maybe it falls, but nevertheless I'm gonna have a short window to take a put option here. So let's see what happened. If we go to the 4-hour time frame and we zoom out, so we can see, you can see some price action here as well. So this is the same line I drew on the daily chart. I actually had it at exactly 7. So I exactly drew it there because I adjusted it on the 4-hour time frame based on the recent price. Sorry. And let's move down to, so step by step I move down, and that's how I get to adjust my line, so I know exactly where to put it. Now remember, this had not happened at the moment. Price was still here, okay? So we didn't know anything besides what was on the left, so we didn't see all that. So let's go down to the 15-minute chart, and now you can see that price did in fact hit resistance at the line I put there exactly. Let me show you the results of the trade before we move on. Just a second. Bear in mind, before you look at this picture, bear in mind that what I said about I told you about the volatility, that the candles are in relation to each other. So here you can see the results of my trade. Okay, we can see this, right? Now if you look at the price, you will see that I entered at this black dot here. That's my entry. It represents the entry, and this white dot here represents my expiry. If you look at this picture, you will be like, whoa, it was a close one, right? But it wasn't. It wasn't a close one, because that's what I told you before about the candles, the candle volumes, that in relation to the candlesticks, everything else looks smaller because you had a huge volume just before. But if you look at the price, you will see that this trade won with 11 pips, just above 11 pips. And that's a really good trade, because most binary option trades end with 3-4 pips. But this one was a 11 pip. And the expiry, so how long was the expiry? So again, my mindset was that this could still continue up. The trade could still, the price could still continue up because of the news effect. Can last the whole day, could last the whole week, or even a month. But because of that, I wanted to get out quickly. So as you can see, it was purchased, my entry was at 12 past, full hour. Doesn't matter what time it was, but it was 12 past, and it ended at 30. So it was 18 minutes, okay? So I don't think in terms of expiry time, but rather duration. So that's why I think that if I enter at 12, I want the next 15-minute candle to close bearish, okay? So in this case, and that's why I give it, because I entered. So the entry plays a role, okay? My line was touched at exactly this time, and that's why I entered. And I'm going to show you my entry first. So allow me to show you my entry, and you will see. Let me show you on the 1 minute chart. That's better. Okay, there it is. Zoom in slightly so you can see this. Again, remember, this is quite a big volume, large drop here, but you can't see it because everything else is so big in relation. That's why it looks so small. So my entry was on this candle. As you can see, this is the candle that touched my line at 1.1317, okay? Now this happened at 12 past, and I wanted to give it at least to the next 15-minute candle, so I had to choose the expiry half, okay, half past, which would give me 18 minutes to expiry. And what happened was that, as you can see, it went against me for a couple of minutes, but then the sellers that I talked to you about, the ones that I told you about from the daily charts when we scroll back and look at all the price action, remember that? Those traders, those sellers just kicked in, they just entered the market and they took over, as you can see with a huge volume here on the 1 minute candle, 1 minute time frame. By the way, we are on the 1 minute time frame now in case it wasn't clear. So at the touch here I entered. Let's see here, what was my price again? I entered at 169. So that's 1 pipit away from my line here. And remember, the broker's chart, the broker's price varies from the MetaTrader price. So bear that in mind. Still, it was a good one. I entered just barely before the price was reached. So 1 pipit, that's basically nothing. Okay, 10 pipits is 1 pip. So I entered it here. Now let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This candle was the expiry actually, because this is the 31-minute candle. So this was the expiry. I got the price 58. On the chart it represents 50, but once again, let's take a look at the picture. Market was at 58, so 1.13058. That's 11.1 pips in the money. So it was a really good trade. And after that, as you can see, price continued up, and eventually it broke the resistance line and kept going up towards another daily resistance. But that was the trade I took that day. I was happy. I got a good entry. So if I had entered here just because there was price seemed okay to enter on, just because it was slowing down, I would have lost. As you can see, it went 15 minutes up. So it was wise to analyze price action and pinpoint exactly where to enter. And you can see this candle that went against me, it was pushed down so heavily, so formed a pin bar on the 5-minute time frame. If you're not familiar with candlesticks, I have made some videos about Japanese candlesticks for beginners. There are 3 parts. I will do a 4th this week and upload it, so check it out. And for those of you who are not in the Skype group, who are watching after the live session is over, you can join our CommuniTraders live Skype group. Just search for it on Skype. You join us. You can learn a lot from a lot of traders, including myself. Come to the CommuniTraders forum, take a look in people's diaries, trading diaries, and you can see how they trade. You can learn from us all and share your own experience as well. So any questions so far? For those of you who are watching live, any questions, let me know. I got some good questions so far. Thank you. About the expiry that I answered and the entry. Good. So the important lesson here was that you have to think, where is it going? Where is price going? Okay, that's the price action. That's how it works. Now, if you go back to the daily chart, you can see that. And that's why I could take this trade. And remember, a lot of you ask, well, if you are taking a 15-minute put, are you only looking at the 15-minute time frame? As you can see, this should have answered your question, that even though I started my analysis on the daily charts, I managed to pull off a 18-minute expiry without drawing a line on the 5-minute, 15-minute chart. So it was a strong line based on all these volumes, all these price action areas on the daily chart. And then you go to the lower ones and you adjust it so you get the exact based on the recent price. So as you can see, it became support now. Yeah, the entry was made on the 1-minute chart. That's why I always have 2 charts. I always use 2 charts so that I can see one on the lower time frame and one on the higher time frame. So right now, as you can see, I have a 5-minute chart on the left, and I have another one, a 4-hour one. You can't see that. I don't know if you can see it to the right. Okay, so also pay attention to what happened today. As you can see, price did come down to the 170 and now it's going up. So it worked at support today. So price action keeps working back and forward. That's why the strongest lines you put there, try to keep them. Of course, you should clean your charts from time to time, so that you don't have too many lines, and clean out the unimportant lines. And sometimes you have to readjust your lines. But in this case, since we took a trade last Friday, and now it was good to have this once price came back down, so we could have traded call options here once it was confirmed that it was holding. As you can see, it was there was a fake breakout on this candle, but then price came back in. So this is price action for you. It keeps working. As you can see, we didn't use any indicators, but if you wanted extra confirmation, I would use stochastic oscillator. As you can see, it was also overbought. This area was overbought on the 4-hour time frame, was overbought on the hourly time frame, was overbought on the 30-minute time frame, and all the way down actually. So everything was overbought, so that's another good indication that price is still moving up. Look at the 5 minute, was completely overbought. So yes, when I'm waiting for the price to come to the line, once I'm done with the analysis, I simply go to the 1 minute chart and then I wait. I wait for the price to come up and then I enter the trade. So that's basically it. I think I've explained everything. So let us know. Don't forget to share, like, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to the Skype group once again and CommuniTraders forum. Can everyone hear me, or is it I got a message about connection issues? Okay, you can hear me, that's great. Well, guys, I don't have anything else, so unless you have any questions, we will wrap this up. Thanks for watching. You can share this with your friends who are struggling with binary options so they learn price action. This is the best strategy you can find. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the questions. I'm out.